thank Bishop Cyprian Williams and co-pastor for this opportunity to be able to minister to you this morning. The fivefold ministry gifts. We give God thanks for them and for the work they continue to do and the vision that they continue to follow in God's will. This morning, I would like us to turn to the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 1. First Corinthians 1, verse 18 to 29. Reading from the King James Version, verse 18. For the preaching of the gospel of the cross is to them that perish foolishness, but unto us which are saved it is the power of God. For it is written, I will destroy the wisdom of the wise, and will bring to nothing the understanding of the prudent. Where is the wise? Where is the scribe? Where is the disputer of this world? Hath not God made foolish the wisdom of this world? For after that, in the wisdom of God, the world by wisdom knew not God. It pleased God, but the foolishness of preaching to save them that believe. For the Jews require a sign, and the Greeks seek after wisdom. But we preach Christ crucified, unto the Jews a stumbling block, and to the Greeks foolishness. But unto them which are called, both Jews and Greeks, Christ, the power of God, and the wisdom of God. Because the foolishness of God is wiser than men, and the weakness of God is stronger than men. For you see your calling, brethren, how that not many wise men after the flesh, not many mighty, not many noble are called. But God hath chosen the foolish things of this world, to confound the wise. And God has chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty. And base things of the world, and the things which are despised, hath God chosen, yea, and things which are not, to bring to naught things that are, that no flesh should glory in his presence. This morning I would like to speak to you on the theme, the foolishness of God. The foolishness of God. In this passage, it talks about mainly preaching of the cross, the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. At the time, it was the most humiliating form of punishment for criminals. Crucifixion on the cross. It was for the Romans who mastered or created the art of crucifixion. For them, it was a symbol of their authority, the symbol of their power, their earthly power, their rule over the Jews. But we see here in verse 18, and reading now from the Faith Life Study Bible, for the message about the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing, but to us who are saved, it is the power of God. We see in the passage it talks about the Jews, obviously the Romans, because they were the ones who created crucifixion. It talks about the Greeks. For the Romans, it was their form of humiliation and punishment, the cross. For the Greeks, it's foolishness for them. For the Jews, it was a curse to be crucified on a cross. For them, it was considered a curse. And that is why they could not see how Jesus could be the Messiah. Because the Messiah would not allow himself to be subjected to that form of humiliation. But we see the Apostle Paul writes that for those who are saved according to the cross, it is the power of God. So here you have a form of humiliation, a form of punishment, a form of degradation, that to those who are saved, it is the power of God. In the eyes of, and we're looking at three types of people here, three types of viewpoints. The Romans see it as their authority, asserting their authority. The Greeks saw it as, well, this is foolishness. How can this make sense? The Jews saw it as a curse, as a stumbling block to them. How can the Messiah subject himself to that form of humiliation? But to those who are saved, it is the power of God. This morning, I want you to look, and I'm going to go to another passage just to correlate with that one. And you can probably look for it now, Isaiah 29, verse 14. In verse 19 of 1 Corinthians, Paul says, "For it is written, I will destroy the wisdom of the wise, and the intelligence of the intelligent I will confound." That passage is actually a direct quote from the book of Isaiah. And the Lord, showed me something in that passage that I wasn't really looking for initially. In Isaiah 29, verse 14. "Therefore, look," and I'm reading from the Faith Life Study Bible, "I am doing something spectacular. And a spectacular with this spectacular people. And the wisdom of its wise men shall perish." So this is a direct quote from Isaiah 29. "And the wisdom of its wise men shall perish, and the discernment of its discerning ones shall keep itself hidden." But then I went down further because I was just looking at verse 14 just to correlate the passages. But God brought me further in verse 15. "Those who make a plan deep to hide it from God, and their deeds are in a dark place. And they say, who sees us, and who knows us? Your perversity, as if a potter shall be regarded as the clay, that the product of its maker says, he did not make me. And the thing made into shape says of its potter, he has no understanding." So we're looking here as it goes further of a clay basically saying to the potter, you didn't make me. I am going to take my own shape. I'm going to take my own form and do things my own way. So that's like the clay, the clay that has no form, no use without the potter's hand on it. Is saying to the potter, I am going to do my own thing. I am going to take my own shape because your ways and your works are foolish. And it came very clear to me that even, and this particular passage itself was referring to the elders of Israel, who when they departed from God decided that they were going to do things their own way. They were going to depart from what God has ordained and what he had put in place. Because as they were concerned, God was foolish. God was not working according to their timeline and their timetable. So God is saying he is going to allow the wisdom of its wise men, the wisdom of its wise men to perish. I say to you this morning that sometimes in our eyes, most of the times in our eyes, our wisdom does not correlate with God's wisdom. God has a way of doing things that seems foolish unto us. His ways doesn't always make sense to us. But he is declaring and saying there that just as it was with the crucifixion, that he was able to take what man has asserted to be humiliation, what man has asserted to be foolishness. How can goodness come out of death? How can Jesus dying on the cross bring life to us? But God is saying that the foolishness of God is wiser than the wisdom of man. Because God was able to take what was seen as humiliation and degradation and shame to bring the greatest salvation this world will ever see. So here in Isaiah 29, the elders of Israel deciding that they were not going to go according to what God had in plan. And so God is saying in verse 15, those who make a plan deep down inside, they try to hide it from him. They do their deeds in dark places, believing that others won't see. And there's a reason why God brought me here, because what God is saying to us is that even in and amongst our congregation, there are those who have ulterior motives. They come and they give the impression that they are with you, but their motives are different. And their deeds are done in darkness, meaning behind closed doors. And we think that they are with us. But what God is saying is that he will confound even their evil plans. The wickedness that they have stored up and planned to stop and block the move of God will be revealed. Nothing that is done in the dark everything that is done in the dark will eventually come to light. It's just a matter of time. That God is saying that we may come with a heart we come with the appearance of worship. We come with the appearance of we want to go with the move of God. But deep down inside, there are some of us who have ulterior motives. And God is going to reveal and confound those who believe that they can come in the presence of God and come into the work of God and try to block the move of God. You see, God is saying that he is doing a spectacular work in this time. The question is, where do you fall in that spectacular work? What is your role in the work that God has for you to do? You see, as I indicated before and as Prophet was saying, that these are times, a lot of things are happening in these times. And if there's one thing that is a sure thing, is that when God has a spectacular plan, when God has a revival to break forth, the enemy does not want it. And he will do everything to try and stop it.
You have been watching a message from the New Birth Gospel Tabernacle Church in Keon, St. Kitts. To order the full version of this message, email us at newbirthmediatv@gmail.com or call 1-869-662-2200. Thank you for watching this presentation by New Birth Media. On behalf of the New Birth Gospel Tabernacle Church, we trust you were blessed by this message.
And you are